Hey there, everybody.
Good evening.
Welcome to the June 19th, 2012 Fellowship of the Geeks live broadcast. He's Lev Webster, I'm Thomas Chick, and joining us on Skype is Mike Marlowe.
Happy Juneteenth, everybody!
Woohoo! That's true, it's Juneteenth. I hope everybody's having a good couple weeks. How's things been going for you guys?
Cool.
Doing okay here?
Cruising right along.
Bueller?
Obviously champing at the bit to contribute to the whole thing.
Okay. I don't think I really have anything to kind of go over first. I guess we just go ahead and get into tonight's topic or topics. Did you have anything you wanted to throw in first before we start into topics?
No, not yet.
Nothing? Okay. All right. Just want to make sure. Mike, you have anything? Or are you
No.
you're just happy to be here?
No pillow talk for me.
Woohoo! Okay. First thing I kind of wanted to go over, kind of talk a little bit about. I posted a link on the Facebook page late last week, and probably some of y'all saw that, or you might have read it from other outlets. What I'm talking about is the incident in North Carolina where a 14-year-old girl was in the public library and checked out Alan Moore's Neonomicon. I actually said that right, I think.
I think so.
Took it home, was reading it. From what one of the reports I read, she found a curse word, didn't know what the word was, so took it to Mommy. And of course, Mommy was floored by not only the language, but the sex and violence and nudity that was in the book. Raised Cain, and so now the North Carolina public library system has removed the graphic novels from all sites. Just today, the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund issued a letter to them, to the North Carolina public library system, requesting them to put them back, and it's a full detailed letter. I didn't post anything on the website or anything, but you can go to their website, cbldf.com or .org, maybe .org, and you can read the letter. But I kind of want to talk about this whole situation. Anyone want to jump in first? Or?
Start it up.
Well, from what I understood, I don't know if it's the entire library system in North Carolina or not, or just this particular branch that she was at. Apparently, they have it set up, designated where there's like a 13 and under access, and then there's 14 and over, or 13 or over 13 access. So obviously this was over the 13.
They've got a self-imposed PG-13 rating system.
More or less. This is from what I've understood from reading a couple reports. And of course, her being 14, she was over that limit, so she looked at the book. I guess she looked at the book. I don't know. She obviously picked the book up, got it checked out, went home, and started reading it. I've not read anything saying what caused, what she saw in the book that decided her to check it out. Because I mean, if she flipped through it, you ought to be able to see what's going on. And then there's the whole thing with the mom saying she didn't think anything about the book. I guess she saw the cover and just figured it was a children's book or some such. But then she looked inside, and of course it's nowhere, nowhere near suitable for children. Um, I've been trying to think about this and how things could have been handled. Obviously, I'm assuming that mom was not there when she got the book because she didn't know anything about the book apparently until she started reading it. Her daughter.
Be careful with assuming.
That's true.
There's no reason to assume that she wasn't standing right there the whole time.
That's true. I don't know how could this have been avoided?
To me, you look at the back of the book, because if I would know the publishers, they would have for mature audience stamped on it, and therefore mom should understand that no, this isn't for my child.
Well, if mom, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Or the people at the front desk, they look at that and say, "Oh, well, this is for adults."
Well, I was thinking about that too. Did you want to say something, Mike, before I chime back in?
No, go for it.
Okay. I was thinking about, you know, shouldn't this been a red flag to the librarian? But that's asking the librarian to be checking everything out that, I mean, are the librarians supposed to be looking at the books that teenagers are checking out and going, you know, this is not for you. You know, I
get a picture in my head of this whole process turning librarians into like liquor store workers, where they have to sit there and they're actually they take training in order to attempt to guess the age of the customers.
That's what I'm saying.
So they can figure out who to card and who not to.
That's what I'm saying. Is it really their responsibility to do that? I don't think it is.
So all of a sudden, comic books, and honestly books in general, become a controlled substance.
That's what I mean. That's kind of what I'm getting at. I mean, really, should it be the responsibility of the librarian? I don't think so.
Nor is it the responsibility of the state legislature or who the hell ever it was that did all of this idiocy.
Well, you also got to take into account regarding the legislator responding to this. At this extreme is it's also election year.
Oh, so big time.
So
honestly, if the publisher is smart at all, then they will totally ride this thing and say, "Hey, yeah, we're banned. We got banned. Ha, yeah, go ahead, read our books, buy more stuff because we got banned." Obviously, there's something good going on here.
And is that? I've got a pretty good guess who the publisher was.
Avatar.
I kind of figured it was Avatar.
Avatar Press.
Avatar Press.
Hopefully they're sending that sucker for another printing as we speak.
Probably, yeah.
Because you know that all they have to do is blow this up just a little bit, and that book starts flying off the shelf.
Yeah, because people are going to want to know what all the hubbub is about.
Because it's going to plant the title of the book in the brains of a whole lot more people than it would have otherwise.
Now I know that the librarian may not be in the know as to who Alan Moore is. But if you have any idea of Watchmen, you should know that Moore does not work directly within the confines of normal press. This is not something that's going to be picked up by one of the big four.
I understand that, but like Mike, kind of piggyback on what Mike was saying, then you're asking the librarian to know every author that the library has, and then basically make a judgment call on whether
a 12-year-old
should be checking this book out or not. I I mean, if it's Mein Kampf, yeah, you probably figure the kid shouldn't be reading this.
Right.
But or Lady Chatterley's Lover. I mean, those are kind of obvious. But some of this stuff, if you don't,
Right, so what you're asking the librarians to do is for the tiny little bit of pay that they get, you're asking them to read every single book in the library and have an idea of how old the target audience should be, and then be able to assess, just at a glance, everybody who walks in the door to be able to tell them what they should or shouldn't be able to do, to read.
well, that's not what I'm saying, but but I can see some people throwing the blame on the librarian, saying, why didn't he or she stop this from happening?
Because it's not possible.
It's not possible.
You're never going to stop it from happening. The only way to stop it from happening is to burn all the books.
Well, some people may think that's a good idea.
I'm sure they do.
Back in the 70s, my mother got interested in a book because the North Dakota library system pulled it from the shelves. It was Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut.
Awesome, awesome book.
Awesome book. And it's one of those that college students were reading for some classes, in fact. I remember having to read some of Vonnegut's work for one of the college courses I had. She wanted to read it because it was being banned. She read it and said, why is this being banned? And I said, Mom, I couldn't tell you. But somebody got the bug and thought that this is horrendous, this is horrible. And Mike, I don't know if you remember any particular part of that book that was just so awful that it would cause an uproar. I do not.
The best I can guess is realistic descriptions of modern warfare. His descriptions of the firebombing of Dresden.
I would say you're right. That would be the extent of it. But for some reason, they had the idea that this was horrendous.
And you talk about this being in the 70s, you're talking about Vietnam going on at the time, and they probably just didn't want people thinking about that sort of thing, especially since they were doing it again 30 years later.
Right.
In Vietnam.
Right. But the reaction here, I think, is similar. The one thing I don't understand is, rather than look at it and discuss the appropriateness of the book and what they plan on doing, they just did a knee-jerk, pulled it from the shelves, and said, you will not find this in our libraries.
That's our society nowadays. It's all knee-jerk reaction. We don't sit down and try to discuss things and try to figure out what's the right course of action.
We want the
We
quickest.
haven't in 100 years. It's nothing. It's nothing new. It cracks me up when people say stuff like that, because, I mean, everybody talks about how society is falling apart over the last 10 years. It's not over the last 10 years. If society is falling apart, it's been doing it since it was built. Society is not going anywhere.
True.
Well, if it's built, then there's only thing.
And one group of idiots in another state. I mean, this is no secret. We're not in North Carolina. Choosing to do something stupid is nothing different from anybody else in the world choosing to do something stupid. Except in this case, they just happen to be telling other people that they can't do what they want. There's so much talk about freedom in this country. I don't think people understand what that means.
And I think that we need to inform people also that we have our idiots here too. So.
Oh, certainly. That's why I'm not even naming the state at this point, because it doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
Makes no difference where it is.
They're everywhere. So let me ask you guys this. Well, I just How can we? How can we have stopped this from happening? I don't know if we can.
The only group, in my opinion, the only group that can stop this from happening
Well, I mean,
is honestly the publisher. Because what they need to do is they need to march thousands of copies of this book out on the market and then sell them like you would not believe based on the fact that some idiot banned it somewhere. The only way to make this go away or to make it stop is when people realize how ludicrous it is for it to happen in the first place.
well,
And they will think, the next guy that thinks about banning a book will come back and look at this example and say, wow, that really didn't work. I'm not going to do that this time.
I mean, that's good, but that wasn't exactly what I meant. I mean, how could we have stopped this from the first place? That's kind of what I was, and that may not something that we can easily answer or answer at all, but how,
Well, obviously, the state was given this many copies for their libraries. And if that's the case, then it needed to be brought to their attention that this is for mature readers. And I know we're getting back as to the librarian and such, but the thing is, if it's got that stamp that says for mature audiences, then somebody should start looking.
Well, I've been kind of thinking about this, and I'm not saying in this case this would have happened with the girl, but if you had a section in the library that's marked mature audiences only, that's almost like a calling sign saying, "Come look at this." For some people, especially around this age, 13, 14, that kind of stuff. That's stuff you're not supposed to look at. So what are you going to do? You're going to go over there and look at it. So, yeah, you don't want to have it out there where anybody can look at it. But then again, some people, I don't know. I've been kind of tossing this around, trying to how could we have prevented this from happening? I guess was supposed to be my question. How could we prevented this? And then I've just been phrasing the question wrong, and I don't know how. Yeah, I mean, you got the whole thing with mature audiences, but you're also going back to, okay, does the librarian going to look at the back of the book and say, well, it's mature audience, and then, okay, let me see your ID or let me see your library card. Okay, well, you're only this age. I'm sorry. Again, that's the whole thing that Mike's been saying. That's putting a lot more responsibility on the underpaid librarian.
I think the only other step then is you move to the parent. The parent should have been overseeing this too.
Well, that's what I mean, that's what I'm thinking, but yeah, I mean,
if the parent's there, that's one thing. If the parent is not there, then when it's brought home to the parent, and Mike, as a parent, you're not expecting to look at a book that your child brings home and say this is appropriate or not appropriate. But Neonomicon, wouldn't that give you an idea as a title that it's not exactly Prince Caspian?
I don't want to use that word again, since I don't want to have Mike go off again. But if the parent had an opportunity to look at the book, or at least look at the title, yeah, you would think, okay, that's a strange name. What is this all about? And then look at it then, but probably still would have the same situation.
Yeah.
It would have been the same thing. The mother would still have looked at the book and go, "Oh my God!" and raised hell. And what are you doing, letting?
Come in.
Okay. Just for jollies, I pulled up a picture of the front cover of this book. The front cover of this book has
How come I'm not?
I don't know.
4 people
That, maybe
standing
him.
or appearing somewhere on the cover. 2 of them are holding guns.
Was
One
that
of
you,
them
Mike?
is, huh?
Was that you? Was that you that had the ad?
No, I haven't had an ad
Okay.
in a while. One of them is above all the others, is obviously screaming and has his hands over his ears and tentacles behind his back.
Which is probably what drew the attention of the girl. Thinking, oh, this is a scary book and that kind of stuff, so. But go ahead.
If that's not enough to make a parent look twice, then that person's parent card should be revoked. Seriously. There's just no way. I mean, what can you possibly think this is going to be? And how does this not make you curious as to what it is if you don't understand? If you look at that and don't understand, then you need to look inside and see what the deal is. And if you don't, then you get what you get.
Yeah, if you look at the plot synopsis for it, you can tell that it's not going to be your typical Pollyanna book.
No, this is not Charlie Brown and Snoopy here.
No.
Actually, the more I see about this book, the more I'd like to read it.
I don't know if I have it or not. I thought I bought something a couple years back, but I don't even know how old that is.
Last year?
It says, what I'm looking at says publication date November 8th, 2011.
Okay. I don't have it then, I don't think.
And originally it was done in 2010. It was like a 4-issue.
Collects
and then
Alan
a
Moore's
collection.
2010 comic book series.
Yeah.
Now, I might have one of the... I may have like the first issue of the miniseries. Because I think I have something. I think I got the first issue, and that's as far as I got because I never saw the other issues. So,
And it received a Bram Stoker Award. It's not to say that it's not a good book. It's just one of those books that
none of us are saying that. But,
people should step back and don't complain to the library because your child picked out something that you didn't want them to read. Tell your child to take the book back immediately, and that's all you have to do.
yeah.
Right. It's all just an overreaction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that's something that we're very good at. I was going to say something else, but I can't. It's already gone out. I hate when that happens. So, what do you think? What do you think does happen outside of what Mike's been saying about Avatar riding it for all it's worth? Which I don't blame them for doing that.
God, I hope they do. I think they should. I think it's very important that they should ride it for all it's worth. Because it's the only way people are going to realize that this crap doesn't work.
And why not put it on the cover, or at least the back cover, or somewhere that says banned in the state of North Carolina.
Oh, and it should be all over their website, too. They should be proud. It should be a badge of honor for them.
Actually, you know what?
Way.
Go over there and see if they acknowledge anything.
No, they haven't yet.
They had? You already looked?
No,
Okay.
not on their front page, anyway. They really should.
It doesn't look like it's been updated in a while. Well, that's a June 14th.
Yeah.
Okay. I stand corrected. Not the first time. I'd be wrong. But I just wonder how libraries are going to react from now on. I just wonder. I wonder if this is happening in other states. They're seeing what's going on in North Carolina and going, you know what? We want to nip this in the bud. we're going to yank these books out.
I think they need to sit back and review stuff that they are receiving, for one, because Stephen King's latest novel may not have been something that every library wanted. Some of the content in it was a little racy. Not pornographic, but just enough to get under some skin. Not all people, but some.
Yeah, but you can. That's a slippery slope there, because then all of a sudden you're going to say, well, who's the one to be judging, saying, well, this should be something that's in our library and this should not.
Usually, it's more of a budgetary decision with public libraries.
Yeah, but I'm just.
Can they afford it? And if there's any reason why they shouldn't, then it probably just gets bounced off the list immediately.
Then the question is, did Avatar send them copies and just say, here, put these in your library? Or were they
purchased? And then if they were purchased, you need to go back to that person who made the suggestion and say, okay, what was this about this book that you figured we need to have in our libraries? I'm sure it's a good book. I'm sure it's a good story and all that. But I mean, I'm not saying me personally asking that question, but I think y'all know where I'm going.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure I know where you're going.
Well,
I mean, you're talking about placing the burden of censorship somewhere in the process. I mean, at this point, all we're talking about is where does it belong. I mean, I still think the question is, does it belong at all? Nobody has persuaded me that we need censorship in a public library setting beyond what.
Well, I'm not saying
responsible for that child is capable of.
I'm not saying that there should be. I'm not trying to establish blame or anything. I'm just saying what I was going back to was
it sounds like you're trying to find a way to make it not the librarian's fault, ultimately, which is good. It shouldn't necessarily be up to a librarian because, like I said, they go to school for a really long time to make pretty close to minimum wage and work crappy hours.
Yeah, well, yeah, I definitely don't want to be a librarian.
Can you tell I look at the possibility of getting an MLS at some point?
Yeah, and the reason why I'm going kind of overboard defending the librarian, because I know that would be the scapegoat. Everybody's going to say it's his or her fault that child checked out that book. That is the easy way. That's why I've gone overboard saying no. That's why and I'm sorry if I've gone on too long about that, but that's the reason. I know how. I could see how this would go. Everybody's going to say, well, this is the librarian's fault, so you fire the librarian and all things are solved. You got the books out, the librarian doesn't have a job, all is right with the world.
And call me biased because I have a lot of friends who do this for a living, but this is kind of like blaming the teacher when the child fails the math test.
Yes.
I know.
How do you do that? And yet it happens across the country.
I know. And I have some of those same friends too. And I hear them complain. They're busting their butt trying to teach these kids, and doing it. And of course, there's all the other responsibilities that are they're thrown onto them, and it's almost like teaching is. They have to do everything else and then teach, and then I'm not gonna even go there.
To me, going back, it is the committee that got the books, whether they purchased them or they were given them. The committee should have been the deciding factor. One, if it should go into the libraries, and two, if it goes into the libraries, that it should have
Some kind of marking.
a marking of some sort, so a librarian can look at that, and if there's a 12-year-old child standing there, unless that 12-year-old child has a 5 o'clock shadow, that child is not getting that book.
You say that about 5 o'clock shadows, but I have read studies that say that children are hitting puberty earlier and earlier every generation. So a 12 o'clock or a 12-year-old with a 5 o'clock shadow, not unreasonable.
A 5-year-old with a 12 o'clock shadow?
Either way.
Now that would be interesting.
However you want to do it.
That's a werewolf then. I know, their wolf, their castle.
Their wolf, their castle. Proud Luca.
Obviously, I don't speak horse.
No, your voice sounds fine to me. I don't hear. It doesn't sound any horse at all.
No raspiness
No.
to it at all. No.
Oh, good.
I don't really have anything else to say about this. I just wanted to bring this up and kind of talk about it a little bit, because
The thing is, the watchers of the program need to make up their own mind.
true.
If this is not a book that you want to read, don't read it. If you know that it's going to offend you, don't go near it. Just let it go. Somebody will read it because it will not offend them, but something that one of our watchers, one of our watchers will read will offend somebody else.
True.
And speaking of which, watchers, if you feel something differently from... Oh, yeah, there we go. If you feel something differently from what we're talking about, by all means tell us. Facebook, Twitter, website.
Yes, we have the message.
Yada, yada.
We have the message board up and going. I've been promoting that too. So feel free to go on the message board or comment on when we have this posted on the website or our Facebook page or Google Plus page, whatever. Just let us know or email us. We definitely want to hear what y'all feel.
Feel free to tell us that you think we're jerks. The only thing I ask in return is that you tell us why you think we're jerks.
Yeah, that's
called discussion, and that's how this works.
That's right.
This should be a conversation.
This is a dialogue.
Yeah? Right. This is not a lecture. This is not a diatribe, although it may sound that way sometimes.
Yes, I've apparently been accused about that a couple of times.
Really?
I'm not going to say who, but Mike.
Hey, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, right.
I got no clue either, buddy.
Y'all want to have anything else you want to mention this, or are we through and moving on?
I think this horse is on the ground, and
This is not an issue we're going to solve.
No, I didn't expect to solve it.
But the start to solving it is what we are doing right here, which is starting the discussion.
Yeah, there needs to be discussion.
That's why I'm stressing the discussion part of this, boys and girls. Because that's what solves this problem.
yes,
Dialogue. Good song too.
We can make it happen.
That's right. We can set the children. All right. On that note, we'll move on. What we originally were going to talk about tonight, and I guess we still want to talk about it, is kind of something that Les and I kind of talked about a little bit, I guess, a year ago, sometime last year, or earlier than that. The whole concept of superpowered black ops teams, and just kind of the whole, just, I mean, should they exist, or do just that kind of thing. Yeah,
what do you think?
Really well thought out. I know that. And of course, some of this came about with at the time, Secret Avengers came out, which of course is a kind of funny name. One of the highest profile teams has a Black Ops team, of course, and it's made up of very identifiable members. So I'm like, okay, how's this going to work?
Yeah.
But I mean, they're not the first ones. Justice League had the task force back in the '90s. If I remember correctly, Youngblood had Team Youngblood. I believe it was a Black Ops team, and of course, Suicide Squad. It's kind of a Black Ops team, but it was made up of villains. It was kind of the whole Dirty Dozen concept, Although they never did get clemency or anything, they stayed with the team. You survived, so you're still on the team.
They didn't have Ernest Borgnine, that was the problem.
That's right. So, if I remember correctly, and of course, my memory's not as great as it used to be, I thought you had a problem with the whole concept.
Yeah, I do. Just what you explained. Let's see. Recently, you've got Blackhawks. You also have Venom.
Venom.
Is he not part of an ops team?
Well, the current version of Venom, from what I remember, because I started reading the book and then jumped off, but he's working for the United States government as a black ops agent.
That, to me, just makes no sense. If you're a black ops agent, then you're trying to be secretive. And
well, with that Venom costume, you can't.
the Secret Avengers, you've got your leaders are Captain America and Hawkeye, and as far as I know, neither of those wear outfits that don't stand out. You don't see them in a suit and tie.
Well, Hawkeye's is kind of toned back a little bit. It looks more like what you see in the movie, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, Cap's running around in red, white, blue outfit. So yeah, it's.
It sounds to me like somebody's missing the point of Black Ops.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mike, because I pulled up the list of their agents, and among them you have Ant-Man and
well, Ant-Man makes sense because you can't see most of the time.
Captain Britain. Captain Britain has as loud a costume as Cap America.
It's a whole Captain thing.
The Human Torch.
Yeah, a guy in the sky, like a guy that's on fire flying is kind of not,
Yeah, War Machine, a guy in a metal suit. And the one that to me really stands out is Beast from X-Men.
Yeah.
This guy is a blue, hairy figure. How can you miss him and say, well, gee, he can't be Black Ops? Are these people invisible? And to what use are they? To me, if you're a Black Ops, then you're following an order from the government.
See, I have a theory.
Yes,
Uh-oh.
please.
Yeah, here he goes. It's time.
No, bail me out, please.
I think that it's possible that people today, I mean, even people who are old enough to know better, are getting their idea of what Black Ops is from James Bond. And I think that's a big mistake. Because all of the stuff that you're describing is exactly what James Bond does.
True.
His queen sends him into a volatile situation where really bad things can happen, and he goes in and blows things up. And he generally does so in as loud and obnoxious a way as he can find. And unfortunately, that's not really black ops. It's ops, not so much with the black.
True. I agree.
Yeah, I've always kind of wondered how he's world famous, and it seems like everybody knows his face. So if he shows up, shouldn't that automatically be a red flag? Like, oh hell, there's James Bond.
Open fire.
Well, and generally they do. Usually they're so cocky that they just say, "Oh yeah, okay, here comes a nuisance. Somebody kill him, please."
Yeah, but there's sometimes he comes in disguise with a different name, and it's like, okay, whatever.
And the bad guy's standing there going, "Right."
Okay, Mr. Fernwilliger, let's move along here.
Yeah.
Black Ops, to me, Black Ops in comics have no place. Unless you're doing something like the Bourne Identity, that's more Black Ops, and that's understandable Black Ops because the story is that's his base.
Right. He's trained as a black operative. I mean,
right.
That's the deal.
So
his job is to quietly go in, eliminate a target, for lack of a better term, and leave. And nobody knows he was there. That's the whole deal with Black Ops. I mean, it's to a certain extent controlled terrorism, but it's controlled.
Controlled terrorism, woo!
You're not going to control anything by sending Captain America in to perform some sort of black operation. This doesn't make sense.
no, it does not.
So how do we fix this problem, boys and girls?
We send it to North Carolina. No, nothing against North Carolina, believe me.
Let them ban it.
I lived there for a couple of years when I was a kid. And I turned out okay. Well, okay. Maybe.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know. I just took it on face value. Well, with some of it, and I just started reading it. But yeah, I mean the whole thing of world famous heroes being on a team, supposedly on a covert team. It seems a little crazy. Because I mean, they're covert for a reason, and having high profile people on a covert team doesn't make sense.
Right. I mean, this would be, for lack of a better modern analog or realistic analog, this would be like Brad Pitt becoming a Navy SEAL. A, not going to happen, and B, nobody would know he was there because he's covered from head to toe, so it doesn't make sense. Right?
But if you were if you were an operative, wouldn't you rather follow Captain America into a situation just so he can draw all the fire and you can do what you need to do?
Well, sure, but I'm not following him. I'm going in the other door. I'm going in the back door.
Yeah, exactly. And
hell yeah, he's a great diversion, but that doesn't make him a black operative.
no, it does not.
It makes him a great diversion.
Yeah.
It makes him the guy attacking the front door.
And in the meantime, I can go on vacation there and do what I need to do. And
Just have a field day.
yeah.
Makes it a whole lot easier to do my job. But that doesn't mean he's doing my job.
No.
Really?
I think some of the stuff is just them making excuses or trying to find a more interesting way to get all these fun characters together in these groups without actually really thinking it through. They use the term Black Ops or whatever analog they're using just because it sounds cool. I mean, you guys have read some of these books that we're talking about. Are they really performing Black Ops? Or are they just there blowing stuff up, which is what they would normally do anyway?
I believe it is the latter. I believe that they're just blowing up for the sake of blowing up.
Right, so every so often this term Black Ops maybe gets a little more popular, and so it starts getting adopted a little bit. When did Secret Avengers come out?
It started up a couple of years ago. I read the first 2 story arcs, and that was about it.
So it would have been a little bit maybe after or right around the same time as the Bourne movies that Les mentioned a little bit ago.
Yeah. When it's
2010.
James Bond never goes out of style, apparently.
July 2010 is when the first issue came out.
So it's coming up on the first year.
So
First year?
Oh,
You
2
mean the
years.
second year?
2 years.
It's 2012, Les.
Thank you.
2012. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bourne Ultimatum was 2007. So
But still,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I'm sure that played an influence.
Speaking of which, there is a new Bourne movie coming out. So with Jeremy Renner as Bourne.
yeah, Quantum of Solace was 2008. So they're probably. I mean, and honestly, Quantum of Solace was not the most popular Bond flick, but it was an obvious Black Ops type thing.
And I'm sorry to say I still haven't seen that. I need to sit down and watch that, especially with the new one coming out.
It's actually pretty good. I liked it. I mean, I'm a James Bond fan, and I like Daniel Craig as James Bond. I like the direction they've taken with him. I'm glad that they got away from the direction they were going with Pierce Brosnan. And I just don't think Quantum of Solace was as bad a movie as everybody thought it was. Of course, it's not as good as Casino Royale. Ian Fleming didn't write it.
Yeah.
They're not going to be as good as the ones Ian Fleming wrote. It's just the way it is.
Really?
But it was a fun movie.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
definitely need to watch that one. I don't know why I haven't watched it. I've watched the other ones, so I mean, there's been some bad ones there. So,
Right. And Quantum of Solace was the 22nd James Bond movie. I mean, everybody's bound to have seen one at some point. Some of us have watched them all.
no,
Much to our, there are a couple of dogs.
yes, there are a couple of dogs. That's what I was trying to get. That's what I was trying to get at. It can't be as bad as some of them.
Does that include
Right.
the Albert Broccoli Casino Royale? The comedy?
That was a different animal.
Yeah.
And yes, I have it. I have seen it. I have them all on DVD. That was
That's what I was thinking. I enjoyed it.
It was fun. It was not what you would consider a James Bond movie, and it did not follow the story of the Ian Fleming book Casino Royale.
True.
Not even close. It was a little odd, but it was very much a movie of the time. Came out in 1967, if I remember right.
Sounds about right.
And we have totally derailed ourselves onto James Bond movies at this point.
Well, that's what we're good about doing, is getting in that ditch.
But Bond, to me, Bond wasn't a black ops. He was a spy. And to me, there is a difference.
There's a huge difference. I agree, and that was my point with the idea that society has gotten a hold of, or at least the modern movie-going audience has gotten a hold of that as Black Ops, because Black Ops doesn't make a real pretty movie. So Bond is as close as you're going to get. And it's not really anywhere close, other than the ultimate goal, which is to get in there and blow something up.
And please don't tell me that Mission Impossible movies were Black Ops, because that group was so obvious as to what they were doing in each film. There was no secret about it.
It wasn't that different from a Bond movie.
No.
Especially some of the bigger, flashier ones.
And that's what they wanted to do. They wanted a Bond movie.
Oh, sure.
Let's just change it a little bit and use characters from a 60s TV show, which to me they totally destroyed by...
Well, we can stick Tom Cruise in front of it, and we'll make $100 million, even if it's bad.
Yeah, well, let's see how Rock of Ages does, because that's the only person they're really touting on that one.
Yeah, it's apparently not starting out real well.
It's not starting off real well.
No.
And it's not a Black Ops movie either. Or is it?
Well, if
the man has a point.
Well, if the job was to sabotage the box office, then mission accomplished.
Yeah, if you want to blow something up, let's blow up Tom Cruise's reputation. Oh, wait, what reputation?
Oh.
Ooh, yeah, Tom Cruise. Going to get hate mail from Tom Cruise on that one.
If he stops jumping on the couch.
Yeah, he's a big listener.
What was that look for? Come on. He's only known for two things, running and jumping on that couch.
Scientology.
Well, that too.
Shooting force beams from his hands against Oprah.
Woo! We are
Okay,
totally off subject there.
Our chief weapons are fear, surprise, or ruthless efficiency.
5 things to remember: duck, dodge, dip, something, and dodge. Again, I don't even remember them now.
What?
Dodgeball? Oh, never mind.
I hadn't watched Dodge.
Oh, you should.
No, I don't think so. But thank you.
That just made me think of a Daffy Duck cartoon. So whatever.
I was thinking the Daffy Duck Robin Hood thing, but that's
Absolutely. That's where I went.
Well, thank you for backing me up there, Mike. Appreciate that.
And again with the rabbit trails. The hell were we talking about to start with? Oh yeah, Black Ops.
Thursday.
How we got the Daffy Duck from Black Ops, I will never know. But anyway.
Well, he's a black duck, so black feathered duck, so he could be in Black Ops.
And that was despicable. Despicable.
Okay, now we've totally lost control. What's going on?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think we're pretty much done with this, or we were done with it before we began. I don't know. You got anything else before we start trying to wrap things up for the evening? What are you looking up? Oh, you're looking up. You want to get that quote right, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Mike, do you have anything before we wrap up for the night?
No, not other than to stress again the whole discussion concept.
Yes, please. We always welcome input from you, even if it's to say that we are totally insane. Please, comment either on our Facebook page, our Google Plus page, the website. We have a message board. It went live Friday. feel free to post on that. Email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Just, we'd love to hear from you, even if it's to say that we are or crazy. So, just nice to know that somebody thinks something. Unless, oh, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
I was agreeing. We want to. We're geeks too. We want to hear what you guys want to have to say about this stuff. We're never going to learn anything if all we're doing is sitting here talking, telling to people what we already know.
Yep.
Yes, we need input, please. We need your attitudes about it.
Okay, Les, have you located that?
No, I don't think I'm going to have any luck in it. So,
well, you can always look it up for our next show.
Which I hope will go better than this one.
Probably. Okay.
This was bad?
No, it was not bad.
I was saying, why was this bad?
It wasn't bad. It just
In the downtime, we'll work on trying to stay on topic, folks.
Mike,
I don't know why.
Mike, Les and I have been saying that for how long? When did we start doing this?
Right.
It's almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
we always get derailed. Okay. I guess that's us. That's it for tonight. Yeah, we need to stop because apparently I can't speak anymore. We will be back in 2 weeks. That will be Tuesday, July 3rd. We will not be taking the holiday off. We will be back here. So please join us if you can.
That's the day before the holiday.
Yeah, but some people will take the entire week off as a holiday. So, and I don't blame them if that's what they want to do. But you can still tune in and watch the show. So 2 weeks
or
from
catch us in reruns.
Yeah, watch us on reruns. Well, we've got it on our YouTube page, and of course we have it on the website. We'll be back July 3rd, 8 o'clock Central Standard. We're on Standard Time, right?
Yes.
Or is it Daylight?
Daylight savings.
It's Daylight. Okay. Central Daylight Time. If you have any kind of show suggestions, topics for us to discuss, please let us know. We're always looking for stuff to discuss. Maybe you saw something that we overlooked and figured that's something that we might be interested in looking or talking about. Well, more than likely will be. I would say 99%, 99.99% will be agreeable. That's something we would be interested in looking at.
Correct us if we screwed up.
Yeah. Any complaints? Any suggestions? Any questions? Please let us know. We would love to hear from everybody. So, any final thoughts and maybe signing off from you guys before we head out?
Nothing from me.
Okay.
I think I've done enough damage in this one.
Okay. So, until next time, y'all have a good evening. We'll see you in a couple weeks, and take care.
Good night.
Later, gang.
Later.